Hello, my name is Rich Howard, owner of Architectural Builder Supply. In this video is to bring you a closer look at the Bommer LB4312-400-633. This is a very common sort of spring hinge. Let's dissect the part number. The LB means that it is a maintenance-free style lube bearing by Bommer. The 4312 is representative of a combination of the screw hole pattern, which is considered a template pattern, and the 5/8 radius. The 400 means that it is 4-inch tall by 4-inch wide. Height always goes first on hinges like this, but since it's 4x4, I guess it doesn't matter. If it was 4x5, not that you'd get that in a spring hinge, the height would be first. So it's 4-inch tall by 4-inch wide, and the 633. The 633 means that it is in the satin brass finish. Okay, typical sort of satin brass. It's a single acting spring hinge, as you can see. It's full mortise. You can tell by the swag on the hinge leaves that when the door is closed, the leaves are intended to be mortised flush to the door and frame. Okay, the leaf thickness on this is 96 thousandths of an inch, so it's going to work with your standard residential doors. Okay, for a 4-inch hinge, you got residential weight and then standard weight. This would be considered residential weight, which is thinner than what a standard weight would be. Again, 5/8 radius, typical for wood doors. Available in several different architectural finishes in the website, no problem at all. There is a guide below this video to how many hinges you need depending on the size and weight of the door. First of all, they're talking about doors up to 3070 only. Okay, so if you're working on doors that are 85 pounds each, 2 spring hinges they recommend, and the axis of pivoting of the hinge axis is compatible with mixing it with the standard 4x4 hinge. Wouldn't be a problem. If your doors get up to 110 pounds, Bommer recommends 3 of these hinges. Now, I'm a fan of all spring hinges all the time, and it's not because I like to sell spring hinges, which I do, but they're relatively inexpensive. But having installed and maintained spring hinges over the last 2+ decades, I can tell you that you get greater success out of a door successfully closing and latching when you've got more spring hinges rather than having less spring hinges. With 1 spring hinge when you need 2, or 2 when you need 3, or 1 when you need 3, you've got to really set the tension high on that spring, and we'll go over that in a moment, to get the door moving quickly enough through its closing cycle to overcome the wind resistance, air pressure, and the friction of the latch as it hits the strike of the frame to get it to successfully close and latch. Generally what happens if you're really underpowered in terms of springs, you'll get the door to close, but getting it to latch is a different story. And what people do is they crank that spring up so high that you can hear it creak, and that's a bad sign when you can hear the spring. You don't want to snap that because it's not repairable at that point. But they get it moving so quick that it slams, and then sometimes it slams so hard it bounces right back open. Think of a tugboat pulling something. They don't go very fast, but they have a lot of torque. And I find that sort of analogy applicable to having like all 3 spring hinges, because you can set the tension such that you're not overwhelming one hinge. All 3 hinges are helping bear the job. Plus, at that very critical last few degrees of closing, there's still enough torque, so to speak, on the spring to get it to successfully overcome the latch bolt resistance and close and latch. And that's my practical experience. You can buy one and add more later if you need. There is a link below this video to the installation instructions. Most likely you're going to get your hinges in a box like this, and they're printed right on the back. The bottom line is it's simple. You're going to get a tension rod. It's a piece of black steel. This is a tension collar. Install this so that it's pointed towards the top of the door and frame. This is non-handed. You can use it for left hand or for right hand openings. Insert the tension rod into one of the holes. Turn it clockwise, and as you do that, you see that you reveal additional holes. It's into one of those new holes that you're going to insert a tension pin. This package has 2 tension pins. You only need 1 per hinge, but this order for the client has 2 hinges on it. So you'll insert one of those silver pins into one of those new holes, and that's how you set the tension. And you'll continue to modify that until you get yourself to a level of, balance of the door not going too fast or too slow to solve the problem. You're going to get all wood screws, all metal screws with it in a complementary finish. Okay. The last thing I'd like to show you is the Bommer logo. You can see on there it says Bommer, and right above it it says Made in USA, a fact that Bommer is quite proud of, as am I to represent them. Any questions on the Bommer LB4312-400-633 single acting spring hinge 4x4 in a satin brass finish, or any other Bommer product, please feel free to reach out to us. Thank you.